Okay, so there's this dad, right? Every night, he has to go tuck his 7-year-old son into bed. It's just their thing. If he skips it, the kid can't sleep. So he heads into his son's room, and it's all dim, just a little nightlight glowing. The kid's already under the covers, waiting. The dad walks in, and right away, something feels off. He can't quite place it. The kid looks the same, but he's got this huge smile plastered on his face, like ear-to-ear grin. It's kind of creeping the dad out. "You okay, buddy?" the dad asks, trying to sound casual. The son just nods, that grin still super wide, and says, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." The dad laughs a little. He doesn't really think there are monsters, but he gets down on his knees anyway just to humor his son. He peers under the bed, and that's when things get seriously messed up. Under the bed, hiding, is his son. But this one looks scared, like really scared, and super pale. It's definitely his real son. The one under the bed whispers, "All freaked out, Daddy. There's someone on my bed." Okay, so there's this guy who just moved into a new apartment. He goes down to the front desk to pick up his keys. The receptionist hands them over, all smiles. But then she tells him to stay away from the door without a number on their floor. The guy's like, that's weird. But he's got his apartment to worry about, so he doesn't ask. After he gets all settled in, though, he can't shake the receptionist's warning. Why would she say that? So naturally, he sneaks out to check out this mysterious door. First, he tries the knob, but it's locked up tight. So, he gets down on his hands and knees and peeks through the keyhole. The apartment's totally empty. He looks around and spots this girl standing in the corner, facing the wall. He notices she has pale skin and really long black hair. He gets this weird feeling, like he's invading her privacy, and backs off. He figures she just wants to be left alone or something. The next day, he got more curious about the woman and eventually went back, straight away getting onto his knees. He peeked through the keyhole and saw all red. Red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeking the last time and covered the hole with something red. He left the door alone and instead went down to the receptionist to ask her questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" He admitted to it, and so she felt obliged to tell him the story. She told him that a couple used to live in that apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. However, this couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes. A daughter was in her room upstairs doing her homework when suddenly she heard her mother call to come down for dinner. She jumped onto her feet and began making her way towards the stairs. But before even took a step, hands grabbed her and pulled her into the laundry room besides the staircase. She panicked before realizing it was her mother, her real mother, eyes watery and bloodshot. "Don't go down there, honey. I heard it too." So this guy goes hiking alone, which isn't something he does often. The day's going fine. He's surrounded by trees and bushes and digging the mountain scenery. He hikes for about 8 hours, figures that's enough, and starts heading back to his car. The sun's starting to set, so he needs to hurry. But here's where things get weird. He doesn't recognize the trail back. He starts to freak out a little, 'cause it's now nighttime. All he's got is a flashlight, and he's totally lost. He knows it's too late and risky to keep wandering around in the dark forest. He's stressing about where he's going to find shelter when, luckily, he finds this old beat-up cabin. It's super dark and looks like it hasn't been touched in ages, but it's the only place he can crash until morning. mainly since his flashlight is about to die. He bangs on the door a few times, but no one answers, so he lets himself in. Inside, there's this bed that's just big enough for one person, right in the middle of the room. He figures he can explain to the owner if they come back. They probably won't mind, or maybe they're even dead. So he gets comfy in the bed. As he tries to sleep, he notices these paintings all over the room. They're portraits of people who look kind of strange, and they're all staring at him with these creepy smiles. It makes him uneasy, but he's so tired from the hike that he eventually falls asleep, ignoring the weird faces. The next morning, he wakes up early and is surprised to see that the paintings are gone. Instead, there are windows where the paintings used to be. Okay, so there was this doctor working at a hospital, you know, the kind where they put colored wristbands on patients. Green meant you were alive and kicking, and red meant you'd passed away. One night, this doctor needed to grab some stuff from the hospital basement. So he calls for the elevator. When the doors slide open, there's a woman inside, just standing there. It wasn't weird to see patients wandering around. They let them get some exercise, especially if they'd been there a while. They just had to be back in their rooms by 10. The doctor gives her a smile and hits the button for the basement. He thought it was a little odd that she hadn't already pressed a button. Maybe she was going to the basement too, he figured. The elevator gets to the basement, and the doors start to pull apart. Way down the hall, he sees a guy limping towards the elevator, and like lightning, he slams on the close button. Finally, the doors shut. The lift starts going back up, and the doctor's just standing there, heart racing. The woman in the elevator gives him an annoyed look and says, "Hey, why did you do that? He was coming to use the lift." "Did you see his wrist?" the doctor asks, still a little freaked out. "It had a red band. He died last night. I know. I was the one who did his surgery." The woman slowly lifts her wrist. The doctor sees a red wristband. She smiles and says, "Like this one."